Hey there! I was in Florence for a conference and I visited not only the Visconti flagship store and their showroom, that's pretty much the same. I visited two Visconti stores. I also visited Casa della Stilografica, one of the older pen shops in Florence. A small shop, packed with pens, very interesting to visit. A very kind gentleman who was willing to show me all kinds of pens. I could dip whatever I wanted. Very, very nice. And I bought a pen there that I was not really planning to buy, but I just loved it a lot when I saw it. I've already reviewed a Faber Castell Emotion, and this is that famous Faber Castell box, which you may know. Then you have this plastic box, which is always very fascinating. It always reminds me a bit of a Dracula coffin or something. And out comes the pen. Now you have a little booklet there, which gives you some information on how to fill pens, etc. Small booklet, quite nice. And then you have the pen. Now this too is an Emotion. I already had an Emotion pen. I liked it a lot, but this is their very cool new stealth black pen, and I really enjoy this one. It just looks cool, and yeah, it was cool. The kind gentleman of the store actually gave me a bit of a reduction, which is very cool. Thank you. Let's cover the parts of the pen, tell what I like about it, what I don't like about it, and I'll do a writing sample. So we start at the very top of the pen. Something I've always liked about this pen is the way that that cap is shaped at the very top. It's sort of an indenture you got there, which is quite funny. Then you have the clip. The clip has a beautiful ski slope design, and it is spring-loaded. It makes that click the first time you operate it, and then it's fine. You got some nice little teeth to make sure it does not move around in your pouch or shirt pocket, and this operates very smoothly. Now on the other side of the cap, you have the Faber Castell logo, and it says since, and I should know, of course, that date by heart, but I don't, since 1761. Okay, then you have some nice grooves there, which I like on the cap. Then you have the barrel, which is this fascinating, nice, knurled thing they got going. Then you have the end, and then you have a little indenture yet again, so it's very easy to hold this pen between two fingers, for example, because of those indentures. Not that I hold my pens around a lot like this, but I just like the design. You unscrew the pen, and then you get more black stuff. You get the section which is smooth but not slippery, and then you have the nib, which is all black, and it's medium. I believe this pen was only made in medium, and I really like it. It looks very, very cool. Black section, so this is a true stealth pen. Everything on here is black. It's not light, it's all metal, even the section, the barrel, the cap, so it's a lot of metal. You unscrew the barrel, and out comes the converter, which currently has Visconti blue in there. Nothing fancy, just a converter filled pen, and that's pretty much all there's to it. Now, as to using the pen itself is definitely not huge, but it's pleasant to hold. I've always found it pleasant. I don't find this section to be particularly slippery, and you can post it if you want a somewhat bigger pen, but because it is such a big cap, which, let me see, put this on my scale here, the cap alone weighs a good 20 grams, which is heavier than some pens are, which means it gets a little bit top heavy when you use it. And I can see how this could be an issue for people who like lighter pens. Even for me, this is kind of pushing it. So for a lengthy writing session, I might consider using this unposted. And even then, although it's not a huge pen, it's definitely big enough to use. What do I like about the pen? What do I not like about the pen? I love the looks. I think this entirely black thing, I mean, put it on something black and it's just cool. Stealth pens, they have a special spot in my heart, just like demonstrators. There's something cool about this all black stuff. It feels very nice. Nothing on this pen is really shiny. Even the top ends of the cap, for example, they're a bit more shiny than the rest of the pen. You can see the difference between this matte and this more shiny cover. But even the shiny stuff is still very matte. so this would not reflect. So if you, are on an assassination mission, this will not reflect in the sun. It will not give away your position. The only thing that's a bit reflective is the nib, which you can see here. That does reflect some light, but it's just cool. It's cool. Excuse me. Things I don't like about it, well, as I said, it's not a huge pen, but it is fat, and yet I think that makes for a pretty nice balance. If you like a thinner section, this is not for you. If you like a lighter pen, it's most likely not for you. Okay, so I think that's the two things. Then we have the markup. I think these usually go for 150, and I believe the original emotions go for 115. So there is a markup. Is that really worth it? Well, what you get is a cool looking pen. What you don't get is a selection of nib options, right? I think the original one has fine, medium, and broad. This is just medium. So you're stuck with that nib. Of course, you can put on a steel nib, because you can just unscrew these. Faber Castell is very nice nib options. You just unscrew the whole nib unit and you're done. Put in a new one, but of course then it won't be black. So I don't really like the fact that you don't really get that option. But at least as far as I know, it's only medium. Maybe I'm wrong. In that case, of course, that doesn't apply. So it's a big pen, it's a heavy pen, and although I like that, I'm definitely certain that there are people who don't. So if you have smaller hands, you don't really like a big heavy pen, then it's just not for you. Okay, let's take a couple of measurements. Weight, yeah, that's 60 grams. That is hugely heavy for a pen. I mean, a really heavy pen can be 40 or 50 grams, so this is really not for the faint of heart when it comes to weight. I'm particularly thinking of General Wyvern, who is going to enjoy this, I'm sure. Let me see. Then we have 130. Well, this is 138 millimeters, capped, uncapped. I'm sure it's quite a bit smaller because it's a big pen. Yes, uncapped. I have 112 millimeters. That's the section diameter. At the narrowest point, it's already 11 millimeters, and down the barrel, it's a good 12, almost 30 millimeters. That's a lot of pen. I love it dearly. I think it's beautiful, a nice keepsake, a nice memento of Florence. Let's do a writing sample. I hope this was useful, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye. Okay, so here we go with this very nice Faber Castell. Emotion. Terrible handwriting here, I'm sorry. In stealth. Now it says stealth. Medium nib. The ink is a Visconti blue. A bit of writing. I love the writing. It's smooth. Maybe a tad of feedback, but it's not terrible. It is not as smooth as the regular Faber Castell emotion that I've used, but that is abroad, so more tipping material, more stuff to be polished. Bit of fast writing. By no means is it scratchy. But I mean, compared to one of the smoothest nibs I've ever used, especially steel ones, I think it's just a little bit more feedback. Okay? Wetness. Never had any complaints on wetness in these Faber Castell pens. You see that here too. Very nice. Line variation. You can squeeze some out, but it's not extremely pronounced. Reverse writing, something some people like to do. As you can see, the pen dries out fairly quickly and is also quite scratchy. So, I thank the people from the Casa della Stilografica for giving me a bit of a reduction on this pen. I loved your store, very nice. What you get here is a decent pen, I hope, well, no, not decent. That is a weird Dutchism I use. This is a very nice pen, very robust, and it performs very well. I hope this was useful, and I see you later. Bye bye.